Oh, finally.
Welcome in to the latest episode of that SEC podcast. I'm your host, Michael Bratton. I go by SEC Mike on Twitter. And that is, of course, cousin Shane, the big Tennessee Homer, who I wish you guys could have seen what he was doing the last 2 minutes. But how you doing, you big Tennessee Homer?
Hey, babe, what's going on?
Oh, man, just waiting for this freaking thing. I mean, again, people probably don't care, really, Shane. But and they probably won't even believe us anyway. But we typically start this thing around 6 o'clock, and it takes like 2 to 3 minutes for it to actually go live. So apologies for being a little late here.
Yeah, this one kind of drug out for a while, so I apologize for that. But, hey, brother, it is good to be on. It's good to talk some college football with you. We're like 2 weeks away. So, 2 weeks away from some football, brother. That's what I'm talking about. It's like we're doing the talking still. We got a little bit of a list thing going on, which was a great show. I appreciate Steven coming out yesterday. Man,
yeah.
He did what I wouldn't do. My ass would have called in for 2 days. But Steven came out here, did a great show. I really appreciate the time and effort you boys put in last night. But, yeah, man, I'm ready to talk some football.
Yeah, so, hey, I always love it when we have an opportunity, Shane, to hit on all 16 SEC teams. So we'll do that here in a minute. We got camp updates, a lot of good clips, a really good show. But I've been holding off on this. We always have plans to do stuff, and then it's really just up to us to execute it and actually do it.
We've had some great ideas, haven't we?
And about 2 weeks ago, Shane, I tweeted out every single team graphic here. Mm-hmm. I mean, if you're new to the show, obviously most people in the comments aren't. Just like this, I did this for all 16 teams.
Yeah.
And just the commentary, all I put on there, what is the most important game for this team next season? That's all. So yeah. I don't have the criteria that everybody used, but I do have the results, Shane. So I got all 16. I want to just throw them your way. We'll do one by one. And again, this is the fans. So This isn't Shane saying it. This isn't me. And I tallied it up. It took a little while to do it, Shane, because some of these had hundreds and hundreds of comments. But how's that sound before we jump into we got injuries, we got camp updates. I just thought this was kind of interesting.
Yeah, these are my kind of lists because you can't get mad at Shane, can't get mad at Mike again, You got to be mad at yourself. You got to be mad for not retweeting it to the right fan base.
Right, exactly. So we could do this real quick and just go in alphabetical. But Alabama, Shane, I'm going to have you guess. There was a clear winner. Again, all I said was, what's the most important game for Alabama next season? And we're not counting playoffs. We're not counting SEC championship. Yeah. Just the 12 regular season games. There was one that was far and away number one. What do you think it was?
I think it's got to be September 28th, Georgia Bulldogs.
You nailed it. Boy, are you good, Shane. Look at you. Look how good you are.
All that Cracker Barrel's finally paying off, Mike.
But interestingly, real quick, I just wanted to make note of this, Shane. Unbelievably, I don't know how this happened. Mm-hmm. Tennessee, Mizzou, and LSU all tied for second place. This is the only one where we had a three-way tie here, but pretty interesting that the fact that Mizzou's into that conversation. No surprise, but a year ago that would have been laughable. LSU and I would even say Tennessee on the rise a little bit here, being Alabama's second biggest game. Again, this is not my opinion. I'm just going off the fans' reaction. What's your thoughts on that? Mizzou, Tennessee, LSU tied for second.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised. I think a lot of that had to do with those particular fan bases. I think Tennessee and Alabama, you talk to Mizzou fans, they kind of penciled that in as a huge game. I think if you were asked a diehard Bama fan, I think other than Georgia, they're looking at that LSU matchup just because that's always kind of dictated, the SEC championship a lot of times. But what is also surprising about that one is the game placement. It's that is a pivotal matchup. If Alabama's one of those bubble teams, you drop LSU on the road, then you don't have much time to redeem yourself. Maybe Oklahoma's a top 25 team still, maybe Auburn even, but that's a big game too. So
right.
Yeah, that's exciting, man, that you got that many pivotal matchups on your schedule this year.
How about Arkansas, Shane? Again, and but I'll tease it here. There was one that blew all the others out of the water. Far, far, far most common answer for Arkansas is?
I'm guessing, I told you Oklahoma State, so that's the one I'm going with.
Shane, you are too good, my friend. It was Oklahoma State.
Yeah, golly.
Not even close. Texas was second, but again, it wasn't even close. And again, all I asked was, what's the most important game for Arkansas next season? And I certainly, I'm just reading into the situation, but I think it's because last season, how poorly it ended. Everybody kind of, we love Sam Pittman, but everybody's kind of down on him, hot as seat. That's where the wheels, I wouldn't say the wheels will come off, but that narrative will begin up again. Meanwhile, if you win it, you kind of start to prove those doubters wrong. So Oklahoma State, far and away, the most common answer for the Razorbacks.
Now, do you got second place on all these, or just that one?
No, I got them. I'm telling you, brother. I did some homework here. I counted every.
Yeah. I'm over there playing the peg game over at Cracker Barrel, and you're doing all that work, man. Good for you, son.
All right, how about this one? A little bit tricky, Shade. Auburn. What do you think the fans say? Again, most important game for them Auburn Tigers, and there was a clear winner. It was not a landslide though.
Oh, now this one's tougher, man. This one is tougher. I'm gonna say, shit, Mike. I don't know. Oklahoma. Don't tell me 3 in a row.
We're going to have to stop this, Shay, because you are too good. Yeah, the answer was Oklahoma. And again, I think it's because it's, right in front of this the road trips here. Yeah. After Oklahoma, if you're just listening later back, at Georgia, at Mizzou, at Kentucky. You got to get some momentum going into that. Auburn should be 4-0 right out the gate. So that fifth game will be so pivotal. And Oklahoma will be coming off that Tennessee game. This could be a huge game for both fan bases.
Yeah, and I think there was a lot to choose from. That's why this one was a tough one for me in particular. But yeah, I could definitely see Oklahoma being the game because those 3 in a row, Georgia, Mizzou, and Kentucky, I mean, you're jumping right into the meat of your schedule after that Oklahoma matchup.
Right. All right, how about the Florida Gators, Shane? And let's see if Shane can go 4 for 4. Most important game for the Gators.
August 31st, the Miami Hurricanes.
Yeah, that was an easy one. But could you guess number 2? I bet you not in a million years would you get number 2.
Really? Well, then I don't want to pick Tennessee then.
Not Tennessee.
Yeah. Let's say Mississippi State.
Sanford.
Somebody got trolled, didn't they?
But far and away was Miami. We've talked about it all off season, but yeah, Florida. It's all got to start. You drop that one again. We won't be burying Billy just then, but a lot of people will.
Buddy, the wheels would be rattling right there. When you're looking at that matchup, we've been talking about the most important games of the offseason. We keep going back to this. Actually, you mentioned two. I think we've mentioned Oklahoma State, Oklahoma State and Arkansas. These are just 2 games that just change your schedule altogether, change your expectations of that program. So big game for sure.
Liquid points out Sanford nearly beat the Gators last time they played there.
I didn't want to say it, but hey, they come out here and go 2-0. They'll shut a lot of people up.
All right, how about Georgia Bulldogs? A lot of marquee matchups to pick. Most important game voted by the fans.
I think still got to go with September 28th, Alabama Crimson Tide.
Shane, are you looking at my notes here? You are 5 for 5 here, and again, this wasn't even really that close.
God, you took 4 hours to put this together, and I had it all already.
How about who do you think was number 2? And this was a close race, but there was a clear number 2 for Georgia.
Texas.
Well, that's what I would have thought, but the voting was Tennessee. So maybe been a Tennessee influence there, but Texas was number 3.
Maybe because I retweeted that thing. I don't know.
Yeah. How about Kentucky? Let's see if you get this one.
Kentucky, South Carolina, man.
Not even close. It was no. I mean, I'm sorry. The voting was not even close.
Oh.
You are always close, Shay. You are what 6 for 6 now here. Yeah, it was the South Carolina game. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, 6 for 6. South Carolina clear and away. The most common answer, most important game for Kentucky, and it's got to be. We've been talking about it all off season.
Yeah, absolutely. This is another one. You're talking about the trifecta for me. This one right here. It changes that again the course for these two head coaches. So big pivotal matchup early in the season. That's why we like it.
How about LSU? And I'll cheat because there's 2 tied for number 1. So
okay.
that might make it a little bit easier. But two tied here.
Well, see, this is where I may be different than most because I just think that USC September 1st game is a huge matchup just because they've lost the 2 season openers. So I'm going with USC here.
Right, but remember it was a tie, so there was another one.
So that is one of them, right?
Yeah, you nailed that. You can't miss.
I just like to hear I'm right, Mike. You know, I live in a house full of women. I don't hear it often. So the next one, I'll go November 9th, Alabama Crimson Tide.
Oh, I won't even count this as an official wrong, Shane, but because you got it half right. But the other team was Ole Miss there, October 12th. Because I think most people assume if they can beat Southern Cal, that they'll be undefeated at that point in time. This was kind of the game that derailed their SEC West hopes last season. But again, no qualms with Alabama in my book.
Yeah, no, still be a great game, you know, and I think still the pressure, believe it or not, will still be on Ole Miss at this point.
Right. How about Mississippi State, Shane? Most important game for Mississippi State as voted on by the fans.
I'm just trying to think because this feels like a troll job here. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to go with because Mississippi State has got a lot of tough games on their schedule. Yeah. They're gonna have a rough year. But oh man, I hate to do it, but I'm going to go Arkansas October 26th.
Ooh, nope. Damn, Florida Gators.
You know, I went back and forth with these, but truly, I do think that October 26th, because I don't know how many SEC games Mississippi State's going to win this year.
Yeah.
But I do think that there's 1 or 2 that could be close, and that could be the Florida Gators and Arkansas. I just feel like, given last year's record, last year's schedule, last year's time these two teams played, Mississippi State fans are like, well, at least as long as we beat Arkansas, you know.
Right. All right. How about Mizzou? And I'll give you a hint here. This response surprised me.
Oh, okay. Well, then not November 9th, because I would think it would be the Oklahoma Sooners, but surprised you. Let's go Texas A&M October 5th.
I shouldn't have gave you that. That's exactly right, Shade. You nailed it. I thought it would be Oklahoma far and away, but actually it was A&M, and I think just because people assume, again, that Mizzou will be undefeated going into that A&M game, and we'll find out for real how good Missouri is on October 5th.
Yeah, we got a little side bet going on that one. I think there's like a gallon or a half gallon of milk involved or something. I can't remember. We're going to get a list together so we can show you all our side bets going on.
How about Oklahoma? What do you think the most important? And this was a nail biter in the voting.
Was it? Okay, I'm going to go Tennessee. September 21st, first SEC matchup. Josh Heupel and company coming to town. I just think that's a very, very big game. It's the last stretch of home games before they hit the road.
Close. Tennessee was second. Number 1 was Texas.
Well, that's obvious. You know, I mean, they've hated each other for a long, long time, and I get it. I understand maybe I don't understand the rivalry just yet. Maybe I've got to watch it a few years to just to respect it more than I probably am right now.
Yeah,
I do think that Oklahoma's got a lot of doubters in their corner, and they're just going to pile on if you lose to Tennessee, especially if you get smoked by Tennessee. So I personally feel like that game is more important than the Texas game. Exclude the rivalry. I'm just talking out of the gate, first SEC matchup. You start out 4-0, maybe 5-0 against Auburn. You know, the Texas game, you can win or lose. That's the beauty of rivalries. But I think if you stumble along the way, then if you drop to Texas, they're just going to pile on you.
Right. All right, how about Ole Miss? What do you think the fans voted most important game for the Ole Miss Rebels?
It's got to be Furman, right? No, I'm just kidding. No, Ole Miss, I think they went with, what did Ole Miss go with? Man, I think the fans, I know this sounds crazy, Mike. You're looking at that LSU matchup. I get the rivalry, but I think Georgia, because all of this started by saying, just what Lane said last year. We weren't physical enough. We weren't long enough to go with the Georgia Bulldogs, and now they are. So I'm going Georgia.
You had it right the first time, Shane. LSU was the pick there by a wide margin, but Georgia was second. I'll give you that.
Yeah. Maybe by one. I should have voted on this one.
How about South Carolina?
Kentucky, September 7th. I think it's just important for that program.
Yeah, it tripled the next response, which was Clemson. So, yeah, huge game for South Carolina. Cannot be overstated. How about Tennessee? Where would you go with this one?
I would say SEC championship, maybe. Try to get a bye in the playoffs. But if I had to go with the second one, I would say, I don't know, man. I don't think ball fans give Oklahoma enough respect. I think they're in that camp. I think October 19th, Alabama is where Tennessee's looking.
No, the far and away the answer was Oklahoma, Shane. So maybe this was Oklahoma inspired. I don't know. Again, I didn't go vote by vote whose fan fan base said what, but it was more than double. Funny. Florida was second.
Through the years we've been doing this, how the votes are skewed based on listeners, like sometimes you'll have a South Carolina surge or your Florida surge, and right now we've got an Oklahoma surge. So I probably should have picked off that.
How about Texas, Shane? Most important game as voted by the fans?
Give me. I kind of want to go back to Oklahoma. If Oklahoma fans think Texas is the game, then I would think maybe Texas thinks Oklahoma's the game since they lost last year.
Texas. Everything's bigger in Texas, Shay. They say bring on them dogs. Georgia was number one, and I think that gives you an indication of just what Texas fans think they're capable of doing. Winning the SEC, winning the national championship next year. But I don't think anyone's going to be buying that if they can't beat Georgia at home.
Isn't that wild? Oklahoma. Who are they? We want the number one team in the country.
How about A&M? What do you think the fans voted the most important game for the Aggies?
Notre Dame.
Not even close, Shane.
That's the one it should be.
Texas.
Oh, really?
Yeah. That doesn't surprise me.
No, it doesn't surprise me. But the biggest game out of all of them, you think?
No, most important.
Most important?
That's all I asked. It was 10-1 Texas over Notre Dame.
Yeah, maybe you're right. But maybe it is. I get it. It's been 14, 15 years, something like that. Maybe
I think 12.
Know. Yeah, it feels like longer, especially if you're an A&M fan. So maybe you're right. Maybe this does mean more. And again, it's a rivalry that has been by the wayside, but it will fire up real quick come that date. So yeah, maybe I should have picked that.
Look, he's quoting you here. Well, the fans are wrong. Notre Dame. All right, last one. Vanderbilt. Shay, what do you think is the most important game as voted by the fans?
Give me Alcorn. Right. That's what they said.
That was tied for second.
I knew it had to be up there. Yeah, you trolling bastard.
It was Virginia Tech.
Yeah, Virginia Tech. That's the one I would have went with.
Yeah. But I
did ask. Since bring them up, I did ask. Did a poll today. Not really a poll, but I asked a question. I said, which SEC team is most or at least likely to win the Vanderbilt game? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if Vandy's going to sneak up and knock off one of these SEC opponents on their schedule, which team do you think it would be? If you had to pick one right now, Mike, I'm not holding you to it. Obviously, this is going to be an upset if it happens.
Right.
But which one do you think Vanderbilt has maybe gotten circled for their chance to get an SEC win with?
Well, is Clark Lee still the head coach, or is it your brother who's dominating it with Vanderbilt?
It's Lee.
If it's one, I know I've said South Carolina before, but I'm flipping it, Shane. I think it's Auburn.
Oh.
And again, Auburn, no need to rehash all my stuff on Hugh Freeze. But look at their schedule here. Remember, we just said, or the fans said, Oklahoma's their biggest game.
Yeah.
Let's say they drop it. Certainly, we would believe they'd lose to Georgia.
Right.
We'd believe they'd lose to Mizzou.
Mm-hmm.
Kentucky, at Kentucky.
Yeah.
I would buy. I mean, Auburn could be in a complete tailspin here, and all of a sudden, all these people calling me an idiot or calling me a genius. So again, I'm not saying that's going to happen, but I see a scenario where that happens.
Mm-hmm.
And Hugh's not getting his team up for. I mean, who the hell's going to get up for November 2nd if you're getting your teeth kicked in?
Yeah, no, it's a good point. It's a good point. I was, and the only reason I brought this up, we were doing the countdown, and today we brought up 2015 matchup, Kentucky and Vandy, one of the wildest games I've ever seen. I mean, you talk about there was goal line stands in it, pick sixes. I mean, it was just fun. Derek Mason was fun for once, and they tried this little sneak peek play, and I absolutely loved it. But, I mean, Kentucky fans probably don't even want to talk about it. But, yeah, I was just curious, your thoughts, because, again, I think it's going to be tough for them to beat any SEC opponent. But I don't know. Maybe them Kentucky Wildcats again. They kind of have their number every now and then.
All right, let's move on before we say anything else crazy here, Shane. But fall camps obviously raging all across the SEC, and we got the hottest rumor. I mean, I was seeing it all in the comment section yesterday, Shane. Our comment section has turned into a damn Oklahoma and particularly Missouri war.
It's a feud.
And Texas in there too. I mean, it's just wild in there. But what was running rampant yesterday, Shane? This is not just here, but it's all across the internet. Is Jackson Arnold ain't cutting it. He's not even going to be the starting quarterback. True freshman Michael Hawkins. Apparently I had someone tell me when I went to Norman, someone that covers the team said, you know, there is whispers that Michael Hawkins could get that job. Now this was before fall camp. They said that. Brent Venables has come out and said, hell no. And our buddy Eddie Radosevich, Sooner Scoop, I went. They just did a practice, just like this, a video after practice. He said that was complete bullshit. So that's his comment, not mine. He even know better than I would. But just putting that out there, Shane. But it is like I said the other day, to where I think the reality is the defense up there is dominating the offense.
Yeah,
and it's because of the offensive line. It's because they're down a bunch of receivers. They confirmed that Jaden Gibson out for the year, unfortunately. Mm-hmm. So guys are banged up. Again, and we talked all about this. This could suit Jackson Arnold really well. Yeah, because he's not going to see another defense like this perhaps all season. You know what I mean? That he's seeing now. And if he can, by the end of camp, if he can have some success against this defense, then he should be able to tear up the SEC. But I just think it's wild how these rumors get going, and all of a sudden, 5-star, all this hype, all this potential, and I think it's just rival fans. But it's the rival fans saying, "Well, hell, I heard he's not even going to start this year."
This is that time of the year, man. You know what I'm saying? You want to hear positivity coming out of camp, and you don't want to hear your quarterback that was one of the only sophomores there at SEC Media Days. You know, you just felt like this is the year, man. There's a reason that we kicked the other guy out. You know what I'm saying? Right. So it just feels like hearing these little smoke. I don't like it. I really don't, because all it takes is one bad game or something like that. Then there's a little bit of quarterback controversy, and us talking heads are talking about it like we already are. You know, we haven't even had one game. But I do like what Venables said the other day. He goes, you know, we're not holding them back. You know, like you said, the iron sharpens iron. And if the defense is going to be on your ass, don't think that some of these other teams you playing Tennessee ain't going to be there. Auburn ain't going to be. I mean, these guys are going to be coming for you too. So I want my quarterback ready when we hit SEC play.
And I don't know. I'm sure it may have happened, but I don't know for a fact, and I can't recall it, Shane, where someone brought a quarterback to media days.
Yeah.
And that guy, of course, barring injury, wasn't the starter week one.
Look at that one right there. Remember that guy, Joe Milton? He's killing it up in New England.
Yeah, that's true. He could throw it a million miles. You know what?
Yeah, I honestly I don't. Short of injury, maybe there was one that I'm not thinking of right now that maybe got hurt.
Right. So basically, the point is, you don't bring a guy like that unless he's guaranteed lock your starter. So all that's just crazy nonsense. But I just think that needs to be said. You know what?
Yeah, it needs to be said. Get it out there. But what if he is the guy?
But maybe what that really says, Shane, is they're very confident in their backup quarterback, who is a true freshman, and again, who is I've never seen the kid throw the ball really outside of the spring game, but from what I know about him, he's very quick, he's elusive. It probably suits him better potentially in a scrimmage where offensive line may be causing you issues. You know, maybe that's where some of that buzz is coming from.
Well, and let's not forget, Mike, the SEC, sometimes quarterbacks just don't make it all the whole season. You know, we got Connor, he got banged up. I think Peyton got knocked out. Didn't Thorne get hurt? Or maybe, I don't know. Maybe I'm just making shit up. But it seems like there's always one or two quarterbacks throughout the year that may get an injury. And it's always nice knowing that your backup may be better than the starter. Who cares if that's the case? We'll get an opportunity to see it if that opportunity arises.
Right. Well, Shane, unfortunately, bad news continue around with a little injury update here around the SEC. Another Texas running back, this time freshman Christian Clark, out for the season there in camp. So, man, we're down to 3 scholarship running backs. I think they're contemplating moving a tight end to running back to help that room, but
I think one of them used to be a linebacker too, or something too, right?
I mean, I think they're having to move guys all over the place just to get some depth here. But again, I don't think Christian. He's a true freshman. He's never played, so we're not saying Texas awful or anything like that. But they better not sustain another running back injury. Is the moral of the story.
Yeah, put a no contact on them guys, you know. So, yeah, this is not what you want to hear. I mean, obviously you're going to need that depth, but like you said, he's not a starter. He may have been. I don't know if he was in even the mix, you know.
Right. And then how about Kentucky? They had an injury too. Shane, running back Chip Tranium broke his hand. No timeline for his return, but he's supposed to be. They're saying maybe by South Carolina, but realistically Georgia or Ohio. So they have some decent depth there at running back at Kentucky. But this is far and away the starting running back, Chip Tranium, out. How big would it be if he misses the South Carolina game?
Oh, I think it's big, and I think he will. Just everything I'm reading, but again, it is I don't want to say like a deep room, but it is pretty deep. So there is plenty of talent in there to pull from. So I'm not panicking. I don't like it, especially that it is my starter, but at least he's not gone for the season, you know?
Right. Well, someone who is, Shane, unfortunately, Missouri defensive end Darius Smith. He was a Georgia transfer. And Eli Drinkwitz had a statement here. We're devastated by this injury to Darius. He was having an outstanding camp, poised to have a great year. We will support Darius in his recovery and look forward to returning stronger than ever. So, yeah, that's a tough one. Yeah. They went heavy in the portal here, and he was one that they were really hoping to get a big impact from this season.
Yeah, that one, out of all of them, I think is the biggest blow today, man.
But hopes are still high here, Shane. Up in Columbia, I wanted to play this one just for you, buddy. Because
give me some good news, man. Give me some good news.
Bring
us up, Mike.
What is the expectation down there in Columbia? Well, here's Marvin Burks.
Season AP poll. I mean, we don't, like I said, that's outside noise. That's a great accomplishment, but we still going for our main goal, and we know what our main goal is, so we just locked in on that. We're not really too much tripping off preseason, because it's not about preseason, it's about what you're gonna finish with in the postseason. What is that main goal for this season?
Just win the Natty, man. That's how I go. Just win the Natty, go 1-0 each and every week, each and every day, just going 1-0 and improving. Winning a Natty, Shane. That's a goal up there. And I mean, he was asked about being voted 11th in the preseason. That was his response. So, I mean, I'm imagine in a million years Missouri being asked about a national championship just even a year ago.
yeah, we don't care where we start. It's about where we end, man. So everybody wants to win a natty. So I like this because I feel like this is the attitude that team has, and to do that, obviously we want to stay healthy, but we got to come out aggressive, and I feel like that's what Mizzou's going to do as opposed to what they did last year. I don't think they kind of stumble into 2024 here. I expect some big games right out of the gate.
Well, yeah, I mean, they may not be tested again until
you know what I'm saying?
October 5th here. You know what? And even if that's if A&M's really good, which who knows? What if A&M's awful? Again, I don't think they will be, but
oh, they will be.
If they're awful, I mean, by God, we may not get tested till October 26th. Yeah.
Yeah. Could you imagine? What is that? 7-0? Jeez, coming into Alabama. That's why there's so much hype up there, man. That's why everybody's so excited. You feel, again, you got to have a little lady luck on your side, and you can't afford too many injuries, especially on the defense side of the football. But man, yeah, it's lined up pretty nice for Mizzou right now.
Well, all these camp injuries, Shane, who is better to ask than old Kirby Smart, widely regarded as the best coach right now in college football? How do you prevent these types of injuries? That's what he was asked the other day, and really he gave the perfect response, I thought.
Injuries a byproduct of football at this time of the year when you're getting your football team prepared for the season, or is there anything that you can do to maybe limit the exposure to that as a football coach while still remaining physical in practice?
Yeah, it's the unanswerable question. I mean, like how do you play football and practice football without getting injured? The guy that figures that out is going to be worth a lot of money because you can't do that. You have to be smart. You have to be calculated. You have to know your positions. But, I mean, injuries are part of football year-round. It's not like this time of year. We don't really do anything different this time of year than we do in spring. We don't do anything really different this time of year than we do in November and December. Injuries are part of football, so we've been lucky so far. We haven't had like significant injuries, but we have a lot of guys that are soft tissue, beat up, banged up, and we're trying to get them back.
Mike, I'm trying to figure out how to lose weight and eat cracker barrel, and it's a struggle. I'm going up and down this menu, and I am struggling.
But I mean, that's the reality of it. I mean, it sucks, but there's no way to prevent most of these. You know what?
Well, and they really have done quite a bit, compared to the 80s, man, the 90s, when some of us were growing up. It feels like they have taken some monumental steps in preventing, also helping these kids get back from injuries, recognizing injuries, knowing when to pull them. And that's one thing that we see more at with camp and stuff. So, but yeah, you tear an ACL or something like that, I mean, that's unpreventable. You could do that. Hell, I did that just throwing a football, and I'm an offensive lineman. I shouldn't have been doing it. So that shit's on me.
And then Kirby was also quickly on the team here. He was asked about offense, defense, explosive plays. That's always critical to winning at a high level. But it sounds like it's back and forth down there in camp.
I've seen both sides of it. I mean, it's one day it's one way, and the other day it's the other way. There's not been a dominant side of the ball, if that's what you're asking. There's been explosives, and then there's not been explosives. And a little bit of that's predicated off of eye control, execution, depth, who's in practice, who's out of practice. But at the end of the day, both units have had glaring moments of like success and moments of not success. I mean, there was a consecutive 4-play stretch by the offense where they had 4 explosives in a row Saturday, but then there were stretches where they didn't. So, I mean, it's like every year. I can't sit here and tell you that one side of the ball has been explosive and the other side has given them all up. It's a balance.
I think that's exactly what you want during camp. You know what I mean? Because again, every time we hear about one side or one player doing well, it's like, well, how good's the other side? But if they're going back and forth all day, I mean, this is not breaking stuff here, but I think Georgia's pretty happy all around with their roster.
We just did it with Oklahoma.
Uh-oh. At least I did it. Looks like you froze out there, buddy. But, I think see if I can add him back in here. Hopefully I'm not frozen. Can you still see me? Can you still hear me? Liquid says Oklahoma got to him. That was a good one. Shade, oh, nice. Yeah. Okay. Appreciate you, Childers. All right. Well, we'll wait for Cousin Shane to get back. But until then, got some more stuff from LSU. I thought this was pretty good. Everybody wants to know about the LSU defense because if they can't play defense any better than they did last year, I think it's going to be one hell of a rough year there in Baton Rouge. What's the latest? Let's kick it over to Brian Kelly in training camp here.
Coach Blake on Saturday talked about big week for the defense this week. Can you talk about their improvement this week and specifically where did they need to improve at this point in camp?
Yeah, I think it's much more about the finer details. You know, Blake brings a lot of energy and enthusiasm to the group. And I think that's great, right? I mean, those kids love playing for him, and there's a great camaraderie and energy within the group. And I think that that's a big piece, you know, to playing the kind of defense that we want. But having said that, you know, we're still work in progress when it comes to the finer details. And I think Blake would tell you if he was standing here right now, it's about getting lined up. It's about the fundamentals. It's about making sure that we're communicating effectively. And you know, that's where we'll continue to really drill down and demand that we get that. You know, we don't want to mistake activity for achievement. You know, we really have to get that from our group. And so we're demanding the right things. We're asking for the right things from our players. You know, we're certainly getting upticks in performances from players across the board. But as a unit, 11 together, that's the next thing that we've got to see an improvement in.
Update from Cousin Shane, his power went out. So that's what happened there. I do not anticipate he'll be coming back on, sadly. But, again, sounded pretty good there from Brian Kelly. One other clip from him, though. They not only everybody focuses on Blake Baker, their new defensive coordinator, for good reason, and what he can bring. They also added an edge defensive line coach, Kevin Peoples, who came over with Blake Baker from Missouri. They coached up Darius Robinson to be a first-round pick last season. It sounds like he's already having a big impact on the defensive line down there. And they've got, of course, Bo Davis, maybe the best defensive line coach in all the country. But Kevin Peoples is an edge coach, and just his first training camp here, sounds like he's already making a big-time impact for them Tigers.
Coach, Savion Jones and some of the offensive line have talked about this, how the defensive line and the edge rushers have become much more nuanced in their pass rush attacks, using their hands more, getting quicker off the ball. Like, could you do you also believe that this has been the case and that these guys are just creating a little bit more variety in the way they rush after the passer?
Yeah, Kevin Peoples. He's outstanding at what he does. He's a great technician. Great teacher. You know, he has those guys the whole day. As you know, we brought in 2 defensive line coaches for that purpose, to be a really good defense in this league. You got to get to the quarterback, and so, you know, I felt it was important that we brought in somebody that was really good at, you know, teaching pass rush and being specific at that. And Kevin's the best in the business, and it's starting to show itself in the teachings on a day-to-day basis, you know, with our ends, and it's starting to show itself.
Another update from Shane. He's trying to log on via his phone, so we'll see if we can get it. It's going to be pretty dark, though, so I don't even know if we could see him, but hopefully we get him back at some point in time. I think we got him. Again, we'll see here. It's pretty dark. Broke. Oh, it's saying no connection. We'll leave that up until further notice. But hopefully he gets connected. Anybody that missed this, so this is a wild story out of Arkansas. They have a running back there, Rodney Hill, transferred in from Florida State, and the way he tells it, his parents hired an NIL agent, and that's why he's no longer part of Florida State. This is a wild story. It's kind of the dark side of NIL here. Let's play this clip here.
Rodney, could you give us maybe a little bit of insight on your journey here? Because I remember your name came up out of the portal when you went in from Florida State, then went to Florida A&M.
Yes,
the next thing you know, back in the portal, and you got here. Just kind of give us some insight on your journey.
That situation, not many people know, but my parents was running my money and stuff like that. And my parents got a bad agent, and he was texting other schools like he was me. And so when they got back to the head coach, I had to leave Florida State. And during that time when I had to leave, I wasn't trying to leave. I didn't want to leave, so I just had to. And the portal was closing up, so Florida A&M was next door. So I just had to go there for a month. Yeah, find a new place. Yes, sir.
You found out something.
You mentioned you went to Florida A&M, and then were you always intending to also enter the portal again and go somewhere else, or was it? I think Florida A&M's coach left also. So kind of what went into leaving Florida A&M and coming here?
It was Coach Cozy. He's the head coach at Florida A&M, and he knew the situation that I was going through, and he knew I didn't really have no part in it, and I couldn't help it. So he let me come over there and just go there for like a few months and then leave. So
did you go through like spring ball and stuff over there?
No, sir. I just went and lifted and stuff like that, and just went to school with them and stuff for that time being until the portal opened back up.
And for people who haven't ever seen you play, kind of how would you describe your game? What do you bring to the table as a running back?
I bring some power. I'm not really that big, but I can catch out the backfield and stuff like that. Like I got some decent speed, but mostly I can run some good routes out of the backfield as a running back.
So just a wild story that, again, you don't hear stuff like that, but the way he tells it, not even his fault. Parents hired an agent, and the agent was pretending to be him. So, we are very much in favor of NIL and these guys getting paid because they're worth whatever they can get. I think anybody is, but there's a dark side to it too. So you just got to be careful. And I think it's good to get that message. I mean, he could have just kept that completely to himself, but it sounds like he wanted to stay at Florida State. He's making the best of it. But I hope future players, rising players, hear this and see this. That way they don't get into a similar situation. It's a raw deal, no doubt. And Cousin Shane, he's trying like hell every couple of minutes to log on here. But one last one. Uh-oh, are we getting him? I think we may have had him. I can't see him. Here's Bobby Petrino as Cousin Shane struggles over there. Hypes up Taylor Green, what they're getting in the new starting quarterback down there in Fayetteville.
Taylor Green, from the spring to now, where's he grown?
Yeah, I think he's made tremendous strides. He did a really nice job in the summer on working on his technique of his drops, his sets, keeping his front shoulder where it needs to be. And we've worked really hard on getting him to have more of an over-the-top release. He's 6'6". He's an outlier. So his advantage is to be at 6'6". When he first got here, he was dropping down and sometimes making himself 6 foot. So I think that's been tremendous improvement. His technique and his release and his accuracy has went way up.
Last year, I don't know if it's fair or not, but one of the knocks on Taylor was the number of interceptions. I think it's 9 interceptions, 11 touchdowns. Do you feel like you worked with him to get the interceptions out? I don't know how much was his fault. Like you said a while ago, a lot of stuff goes into all that. But if you feel like the interception is not going to be a problem?
Injuries byproduct of football at this time.
I think we got Shane here. I can see his head. He just said,
hear me?
Yeah, I got you now. Nope, we don't have him. Damn it! I cut off Bobby Petrino for that. My apologies. Let's see if I can do it right from the middle. Otherwise, I'm
Taylor Green, from the spring to now,
cannot.
Where's he grown?
Anyway, more hype for Taylor Green. Excited about Taylor Green. But he just said they kind of had to clean him up a little bit. Threw some interceptions last year. But I one thing that he really highlights is the fact that he likes the fact that Taylor Green's not afraid to go back to the routes and the plays that he's struggling with in practice, he doesn't mind the turnovers in camp. This is when you knock that stuff out, seeing what you can actually do, while some players are afraid, only want to do the plays they're having success with. Taylor Green, according to Bobby Petrino, always highlights the plays that he's struggling the most at, what's giving him issues. We want to run those in practice. You want to be super, super, super aggressive in practice. That way you can figure out what you can do come fall time. But again, in addition to we had Pittman on the other day, and he was saying just the fact that what you don't know what you're getting in the person of the quarterback and the leadership and everything they're getting in Taylor Green. In addition to obviously all the physical attributes that he can bring, and not just being a runner but being a passer. I don't know. The more I hear about Taylor Green, the more I like. And with Bobby Petrino coaching him up, sky's the limit. So I guess we'll just cut it there, because I don't think Shane's coming back anytime soon. I don't know what his power situation is, but pretty good show till Shane bailed on us here. Not his doing, of course, but he's got to pay that electric bill, spending too much money at the Cracker Barrel. But that's a good time to bring up, we are very open to Cracker Barrel joining forces with us so that Cousin Shane can pay his bills, can show up on time each and every time. I appreciate each and every one of you for hanging out. We're going to do a mailbag to close us out tomorrow. So get your mailbag questions in, that secpodcast@gmail.com. Hit us up on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Hit us up. A lot of people have been DMing questions too. You can do that too. Whatever is the easiest way for you guys to hit us up, or just show up here tomorrow and fire away at some questions. We'll tackle the best ones we can find here. But that's going to do it for this episode of the show. We'll catch you on the next one.